Well, I haven't seen you in a while, and in fact, I don't think I've ever seen you, but you haven't seen me in a while. So, let's do something. I want to do an illustration, and the inspiration for this is from the William Shakespeare poem. I'm not an expert on William Shakespeare. I assume this is a poem, and so I have a passage from it. It's from A Midsummer Night's Dream. And the words are, I know a bank where the wild thyme blows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows, quite over-canopied with luscious woodbine, with sweet musk roses, and with eglantine. Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know what wild thyme looked like. I didn't know what oxlips were. I figured it was part of an animal. Nodding violet, I didn't know that was a plant, but it is. All of these are plants. The over-canopied, I kind of got that, yes. But luscious woodbine, no idea what that was. Looked it up. Sweet musk roses, okay. And then eglantine. That's my word. I'm going to illustrate that passage, and I'm going to show somebody enjoying this flower called eglantine. So I decided it would be a dog. It was just going to be an animal, but I have a tendency to do cartoon dogs. So now this is not fine art. This is going to be digital art, and digital art can be fine art. Don't misunderstand me. But this is, when you do digital art, if you're an illustrator, you understand that this is the best thing ever to happen to illustrators, because you can change things on the fly. You don't have to restart. You don't have to, paint over a whole drawing board. So this is what I'm going to paint. Now, I'm keeping this video full length, so you might want to scrub through it. And but on the other hand, if you want to watch every little second of it, that's okay too. I want to show you what we're going to paint today. Okay, it is this. I'm not so sure about that. Is it focused? Let me see. There, now it's focused. Okay, so that's our our creature, our dog, I guess. Let's get to it. So, let's try something. I'm challenging myself to illustrate this passage from William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay? The passage is, as you can see, I know a bank where the wild thyme blows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows, quite over canopied with luscious woodbine, with sweet musk roses, and with eglantine. So that's what I want to illustrate. So let's just see how I do with this. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of that first of all. And I'm really not going to use that layer, so I'm just going to get rid of the layer. But I want to remember what it says, so I have it up on the computer that you can't see, because I want to remember the words. So it says, I know a bank where the wild thyme blows. So a bank. So I'm going to sketch now first with pencil. So I'm using, for those of you who don't recognize what this is an iPad, and I'm using the Procreate app. Let me start at the beginning for those who are new. This is what Procreate, the logo, looks like. Okay? And hopefully that's in color. You can't tell on my little monitor here. Okay? And then what I do is, and Procreate is an app you can download to your iPad. And then I made a canvas, a drawing space, and I made it 21 inches by 27 inches. Now, it's not really that size, but that's the size it is, or would be, at its optimal, like if you were to enlarge it. The reason I do it so large is because if you shrink it down, it looks good. If you make an 8 by 10, for example, and try to enlarge it to 21 by 27, then it might look pixelated, and we don't want that. So that's why I do that. And so I'll try to remember to mention all the things that are like for people wanting to learn Procreate. But for now, I'm just going to draw. And you see, this is a movable work area, movable canvas, if you will. And so what I'm going to do is here, grab a color, and I'm going to make it black. I'm going to go over here and grab a brush, in quotes. What I'm really going to do is get a pencil. And so there's a 6B pencil. You can see that, I hope. Right? So it's blue, which means it's picked. And I'm going to use that. And this over here adjusts the size of the point of the pencil. And this over here adjusts the opacity. Although you can adjust the opacity with the pressure that you're putting down also. So again, the quote, let me bring it back from Shakespeare is, let me put it on there. Gotta make it bigger so we can read it. I know a bank where the wild thyme blows. So obviously we need a river bank, some kind of a river, right? Where oxlips and the nodding violet grows. So this is all about the flowers and plants that are growing along the edge of this river. Quite over canopied with luscious woodbine. So there's some kind of a canopy going on too, which would indicate there would be some shade, some shadows, right? With sweet musk roses and with eglantine. Okay, I don't know what those are, but I did look them up, and they're all flowers or blooms from trees. So again, let me get rid of that. I think I'm going to keep it. Guess I need to go back to it. Make a new layer. So now we're on this layer. We're never going to use that layer. That's just for the words. I'll get rid of that when I need to. So let's just make something up. Let's create a riverbank. Am I getting anything here? There it is. There's a little bit of a drawing. Okay, so I think I'll make this river go like this. And it sort of goes behind the hill here. I'm just making it up. I do not have a reference photo, by the way. I'm just making it up. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a landscape because ultimately I want a character in here. So I don't have to worry too much about all of that. I want a character in here, and we want to make a landscape. So I'm going to assume that in England, where Shakespeare was from, there would be rolling hills in the back. So I'm just going to add some rolling hills. Just some little hills. No steep rocky mountains, no Alps. Just some rolling hills, I think. And we can worry about all this later on. We'll worry about the sky. And somewhere, see, there's a canopy. So this is the bank of the river here. Maybe even, you know what? Maybe it even comes out like this. And see, but I want my character in here somewhere. So this is going to be about a character. I don't think I want the character to be human. I think I want it to be some kind of an animal, maybe even an animal that doesn't really exist anywhere. So I'm going to just put some rocks in the water. Just little areas here. So let's just really rough it in. Now all of this is going to be covered with the plants that Shakespeare was writing about. However, like I say, I want there to be a character on here. So let me set that aside. I'm going to turn that off, open up another layer, and this is where I'm going to put my character. And one of the plants he names is the eglantine, right? Eglantine, right? The last word in the little passage there. So eglantine, I looked it up, is this pretty little, like a daisy-ish kind of a flower. I am looking at a picture, so I do have a reference photo for the eglantine, but I don't have a reference photo for the landscape or for really anything else, and I certainly don't have one for the creature that we want to make. Okay, so all right. So what I want to do is I want to make like a cute little creature, like sniffing a flower. How about that? So let's just make a cute little creature. I have no idea what this is going to look like, but I'll make him with big head, maybe it's like an animal. So he's got an animal snout, kind of a look, maybe like a puppy, because puppies are cute. We want it to be cute, and we want it to be furry. So make high cheeks. Give him that nose, that, like dogs have that sweet looking nose. Yeah, I think I'm doing a dog. That's what I think I'm doing. So maybe it'll be a dog. So yeah, and I don't have an actual dog reference photo either. So maybe I'll just make some ears that come out like that. Okay, can you see where I'm going with this? Now, if you were illustrating for a children's book and you had, you would be working with the author and or the publisher and possibly an art director. Yeah, we want his eye to be looking down at the flower because the flower's going to be over here. And he's sniffing it with his nose, of course. So if you were working with the author, the publisher, the art director, you would probably be given the assignment and not have much to go on. So you'd have to kind of work it out yourself. And then what they do is they take your idea and they change it. But you're the one who creates the first clay on the table, as I like to say. Clay, you're putting clay on the table and they're going to mold it. And that's usually the way it works. You come up with an idea, and sometimes they'll give you an idea that they have in mind already. And so here we go. I'll make sure he's got that dog smile. Almost looks like Scooby-Doo a little bit. Okay. Well, I don't know really where I'm going with this, but I'm just kind of playing, having fun, and sketching. Just sketching. So we'll make this dog have some jawbone here. Give him some lips. Why not? He's a dog. Dogs have lips, don't they? They have dog lips. There's his nose. Maybe I'll make his nose a little bit bigger, because it's all about sniffing, right? Right, okay. So you see where I'm going with this? Put a couple of areas here where you have the ear coming around. And I'll do the same thing with this ear. It'll come over and then down. Just like that. I know a place. I like that passage, I guess. I'm not a real horticulturist. I really don't know plants, but that makes me want to learn a little bit more about them, right? Well, let's just assume that this dog is... Maybe he's even turning his head to sniff it. Maybe he didn't notice. Like he came to a sudden stop, and he's... Oops, what did I do there? It got dark all of a sudden. That's okay. Everything is fixable. So I'll now make a paw, because he's going to be holding this flower. And I'm not worried about it being a realistic dog paw. It's probably going to look more like a hand, but I'll try my best to make a hybrid of the two. Yeah, give him a thumb. I'm not sure how that works. Okay. And yeah. And there's the hair of his chest. And he's going to have that flower in his hand. And like I say, the flower looks like a, almost like a daisy. It's got 1, 2, I'm looking at the photo, 1, 2. It's got like 5 petals, and each petal almost looks like a heart, which is kind of cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can't even see that thumb really, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, make that go there. Now he's holding that, and he's got the stem in his hand, so you can't see the stem. And the middle of the flower has a lot of little pistils coming up. Okay. And we'll work with that later. So he's sniffing it. Now let's give him a collar of some sort. Yeah, he's a domestic dog. He's a dog. Well, it would make sense, right? A dog would love to be outdoors. Dogs love going outdoors. Okay, there's the strap there. There. And he's happy, and he's smiling, and he's sniffing this flower, right? Now I'm going to copy this guy, duplicate it. I'm not sure if I want to keep it like that, so I made 2 of them so they could change this one. I want to experiment with the eyes a little bit, because I'm thinking if he's sniffing a flower, maybe his eyes are closed. So maybe like this. Oh, I kind of like that, even though I was looking forward to making his eyes, but I think I like this. Oh, now, what do you think? Yeah, now it looks more like he's sniffing something, right? You think so? So there we go. There we go. There's our dog. Of course he gets eyebrows. Dogs have eyebrows, don't they? Don't dogs have eyebrows? There we go. Yeah, he's sniffing the flower. Okay. Yeah, I can see it now. All right, now let's go back to that, the landscape part of it. So now if he was here, I think I need to move him a little bit and maybe make him smaller. So I'm going to do that. Make him a little smaller. Put him more to a third of the way in instead of where he is. And I'm going to sketch it a little bit more just to accommodate that movement I just did. So there he is. There's his paw. Let's see, that would be the paw that comes from this other arm, this other dog arm. And maybe you'd see the stem coming out here. Yeah, he's a muscle dog. He's got muscles. Okay, so now, I think I'll make him a little bit bigger actually now. What do you think? Okay, so now you see how much of the background he's actually covering. So let's go back to that layer and erase those things. We don't need those anymore because he's going to be covering them. Okay. Yeah, so there's the riverbank, and those rocks probably wouldn't look good with those flowers in the way, so I'm just going to keep it like that, and then on the background we'll let's see. We want a river. We want lush flowers here, and lots of plants. Probably trees that obscure most of that sky, and we want this to be a riverbank. So since we got rid of this side of it, more or less, maybe we can be a little bit more interesting on the other side. Maybe that's where we can add a few of these rocks that are in the river. The water's flowing past them. Just make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah, so the water's coming there, that way. Okay. Alright, so he kind of looks like he doesn't look like a puppy. He looks like an adult dog. I'm not sure if I'd like that. Maybe I want him to be more of a puppy. So let me make that a duplicate again and get rid of that one. And let's see if we can shrink and expand certain parts of him. That might help make him more of a puppy. So I'm going to use the distort feature. Maybe I'll use the warp feature. What do you think? Okay, let's look at that now. Let's make that a little bit bigger now. Now he looks like a female dog, I think. What do you think? I think so. Let's compare him with the other one, okay? So we got that versus that. Yeah, that looks like a male. Oh, my phone is ringing. Let me turn it off. So there's the... Yeah, I think I like that look. That's a kind of a cute look, right? So, all right, let me get rid of the other ones because I only have so many layers. And I'll explain that to you in a moment. And I think his... or her, no, it's a her, isn't it? I think this ear should have a little bit more personality to it. So I think I'll go up like that to the ear. And maybe you can see the underside of the ear a little bit. There we go. I'll erase that. We don't need that part there. Yeah, there we go. Get rid of that. So this is the same as if you were sketching with a real pencil. Okay. So I'm going to make, since it looks more feminine now, I think I'm going to change this a little bit. I know it's not a real person, and it's not a real dog, it's just a fantasy thing here. But yeah, it's kind of cute, right? Comes around like that. Let's just keep molding until we get it the way we want it. Yeah, why not? Why not? You know what? Instead of a collar, what do you think about a necklace? Like a big pearl necklace, like big pearls. Yeah. Yeah, big pearl necklace. And let's not make the arm look so muscular anymore. Let's pare that down a little bit. So maybe it's more like that. almost like a human arm, right? With the shoulder right there. Yeah, just keep working it. And like I say, if you were to, if you were sketching for a children's book or something, and you had no, if they just said, just do something, just, which is not unusual, just create something. And then you create something, and then that's when they come back and say, I like what you did, but, and then you have to do something else, even though they had no idea when they first started. They just had words. So this is what you would do. And it's not unusual, and it's nothing to get upset about. It's just the way it is. It's a job, right? Okay. So there's the flower, there's the hand, and just go ahead and make this a little bit. And I think now, I kind of like it like that. So now the dog looks more feminine. Don't you agree? Can you see it all? You see everything? Okay. And we have our background already in place. So let's go ahead and start working on coloring the dog. Okay? Or, yeah, the dog. Let's call it a dog. Why not? Right? So I'm going to make another layer on top of that. Now I have to decide what kind of paint I want to use. So I'm going to go to painting. And I think I'm going to use gouache. I think I kind of like gouache for these kind of paintings. So let's get the gouache brush, which we already got. And let's make the dog, oh, that's kind of a nice color right there. Like a purple violet color. It might work well. So let's do that, I think. All right, let me just do that. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to take that bottom layer, this one that's white right now, and I'm going to change that color. I'm just going to make it darker, just so it's easier to see any light colors that I put on there. And I'll kind of give it a maybe a bluish gray. Okay. All right, now let's take that color and go to the layer that we put on top, and we're going to color our doggy. Just going to brush it in, make it a local color. We'll just keep working until it is the way we want it to be. Okay. So by the way, I'm using an Apple pencil. That's what this is. I don't know if you can see the word Apple on there. There, maybe you can see it. Yeah, so the idea here is just to color the dog in with the local color, the primary color that the dog is going to be. We'll get creative with it. Don't worry. We're going to just do the starting here. Okay, there's the paw or the hand, and we might have to work on that a little bit too. Okay, now let's try to decide where the sun is coming from. I think maybe the sun is coming from the right side, so the face will be kind of in the shadows. I think so. I think that's what I'll do. So let's get some darker version of that and go ahead and start making it darker because it needs to be darker. Okay. Okay, let's keep working on that. Let's make it even darker. Well, let's get the nose in there. Get the nose dark. Get the lips dark. Get the eyelashes dark. Let's put some shadows in the ears. Not exactly sure how that paw will look, but we'll work on that later. All right, let's make the brush a little bigger. Get some more shadows down here. Okay. The face shaded in. So what we're going to do is we're going to have light coming from the back, but it's also going to be wrapping around the side. So it's coming from right to left, and yeah, so that's kind of what we want. Okay, let's go ahead and get some really dark, like almost black, make the point really small. Let's get that picture a little bit bigger. Just make sure we get some of that mouth like that. And then make that nose a little bit darker. Let's go ahead and paint those eyes a little bit more defined. Okay. Yeah. We can exaggerate the eyebrows a little bit. I mean the eyelashes. Exaggerate them just a little bit. Maybe I don't like that. We'll see. We'll keep it that way for now. Okay, I grab that, sample that, pull that up like that, get the mouth a little bit lower, I think. There we go. Get some darker. So the idea here is we're kind of working in the shadows now to make it look a little bit three-dimensional. Okay, we're going to have some shadows from this necklace here. All right, let's take care of that necklace. Let's make it almost white. All those beads, all the pearls. I'm not following my lines exactly, am I? That's okay. There they are. And let's make sure we are true to the lighting of them. These ones will be darker. And the closer we get to the back is what the lighter they would get. And they would have that moon effect. They would have that little bit of light glimmering off of the sides of them. Yeah, I'm thinking that's a cheek right there, and that's the jaw. So there's a jaw and a cheek on this dog. A little bit of light right there, a little bit of light right there. Okay. Now let's get that flower. We're going to make that flower a pinkish. So we want it to be a little bit less red than the dog, or less purple than the dog. So let's just go ahead and do the local colors for the, you know what I should do? Let me get rid of that. 2 fingers undoes it, by the way. Make another layer. I think I'm going to do the flower on a different layer, just in case I need to fix it. So each of these petals looks to me shaped like a little Valentine heart. So that's what I'm going to do. And there's 5 of them. So each petal sort of has like 2 petals, because each petal has the 2 pieces of the heart. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll go over here this way, 5. 1, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now let's make that have a little bit of shadow going on in the inside of each of these. Get some darkness in here toward the middle. Make the outer part of the petals dark or lighter. And then what we want to do is we want to put some white in there with yellow. So we're going to put white first, I think. Let me get the point smaller. Okay, and then we're going to get that yellow. Very, very yellow, probably. It has little points. Let me make them darker than that. A little bit of a shadow there. You got these little points that come up. Let's get that yellow back. So it's not a botany exercise. It's an illustration for a children's book. So that's why I'm not worried about making it exactly botanically correct. However, I want it to be as good as possible. All right. So now let's get back to that color over here. We get some shadows in there. And maybe some white light coming on there from somewhere. Just lighten it up on these edges here. Okay. And we want a green stem coming out of the bottom. I'm going to get green. I'm going to make it less green, a little bit less saturated. And the leaves coming off of this look like they might be it would enhance it, I think. So this is all a separate layer, so I can mess with it a lot. That's why I did it as a separate layer. Okay, it's coming together. Get some yellow in there, I think, yellow, green. Make it look like the light's hitting it. Okay, we'll come back to that. I'm going to double that, I think. Yeah, see, it makes it a little bit richer. All right, so now we have the flower. as a separate thing, you see. Now let's get back to the dog. The dog is very, very dark, and I kind of want that for now. And we're going to take the background in a little while. But before we do that, I want to think about the background. So I'm going to think that the light is coming this way, and maybe the rocks are reflecting light this way. So this will be the warm light coming in, and that'll be the cool light coming in. So let's go, let's see. Okay, let's first merge the two sketches. That way we free up a layer. Let me just explain about the layers. So when you come over here, you can see, where's the layers? Where is that thing? Is it here? No. Oh, the canvas. Okay, the canvas. So here's the canvas information, and here's layers. So you see, I only have 6 layers to work with, and I've used 4 already, which means I have 2 available. If I made it smaller, like fewer pixels per square inch or whatever, then I would have more to work with. But I kind of like it with a few, just because that way it stays richer. So, and I know there's arguments, but I don't want to get into them right now. Okay, so now let me add another layer here above that one. And what I want to do is I want to get some of that golden light from the sun. I'm going to hit the dog from the back. And that might seem counterintuitive right now, and I could be wrong about it. But I want to add that here. I want to add it here to the back of the dog. Okay, and I want that sunlight to be shining on the dogs from this side. And then we'll go ahead and put some over here. It's coming onto the cheek. I kind of blend it in a little bit. And even though it's called paint, you can really work it like a pencil. So you can draw it. I know it's called paint, but you can draw what you're doing. Let's put some white, some yellow rather, onto these pearls. Here we go. A little bit of color over here. So it's like the sun is coming in, hitting the dog from the side here, and just wrapping around her head. There we go. Maybe there's a little bit on the chin. We make this smaller so it fits. Maybe it even makes it over here. It's coming this way, so it's coming that way. So some of it will be on this leaf. Is the leaf? The leaf is above it, so let me put the leaf down below that. Oops, it crashed. That happens too. Yep, so it's not infallible. It does crash. All right, that's working now. Okay. Yeah, let's get some of that yellow here coming in, hitting that flower there. And then his fingers, or her fingers rather. All right, now what we want to do is we want to get some blue coming in from the other side, and we'll go do the same thing. Just make these blue areas hitting the dog. So it's hitting the nose here, again the side of the head. Let's get some of these areas on the eyes. A little bit of a reflection on the nose. I can put a little bit of blue on there. Maybe get some on the plant over here. All right, now we have our warm and our cool, and it kind of looks very cool, doesn't it? There's our dog, and there's the light and the cool. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double everything. So I'm going to double that, and you see how it popped it out even more. Then I'm going to double the whole dog. Oops! See, I ran out of layers. All right, we can get rid of the Shakespeare quote. Don't forget the Shakespeare quote that we're using it from. It seems to me, by the way, that oh, come on, I want to get this to the top. I'm trying to move this layer to the top. Oh, come on. Are you there? Yeah, you're on top. It seems to me that we're using with sweet musk roses and with eglantine, right? Woodbine, eglantine. So it seems to me that we're only really using that one line. So now the rest of it will be the background, but this one is the one that we're focusing on for some reason. But I'm going to get rid of that layer because I need a layer. And what I want to do is now combine these two, and probably should combine all of them, I guess. Yeah, so if you don't have those two, it looks like that. Okay, so let's, do I need the sketches still? I don't, you know what, I do need the sketch for a little bit longer, but only for the background. So what I want to do now is I want to take, well, I'm going to have to merge these all three together. So now that's all one thing. Now let's duplicate the whole thing. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's keep that. Now I'm going to duplicate it again. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm applying the alpha lock. You'll see why in a second. I'm going to turn off this one, and I'm going to sample the background color, which is that blue, gray, green thing. And I'm going to turn off that, and I'm going to turn off the sketch. So all we have is the one with the alpha lock. Now I'm going to take the paint, and I'm going to take that color, and I'm going to paint over the whole thing, and I'm going to make it all gone, and I'll show you why. So imagine that you're not working digitally. Imagine you're working on paper, and when you draw on paper, you have an opaque background. The paper itself is opaque. Digital, not so much, and you can see that because you see the dark coming through. So now let's turn off the alpha lock. The alpha lock enabled me to paint over it without having to worry about it going everywhere. But now I turned alpha lock off, so now I can paint and get the whole silhouette of the dog all the same color as the paper or the background, the underpainting, if you will. Okay, I'm going to make the whole dog that same color. So what happens is it serves as a mask or a background or a matte, one solid color, so that when I do the background, the landscape behind the dog, when I do that, nothing will bleed through. That's why I'm doing this. So now I take that, open up that again, move this above it, and voila, there you have it. There's the dog with the flower. Okay. Now let's merge those two together, and now we have the dog with, there we go. That's what we have. Now let's turn the background back on, and let's make a layer underneath all of that so that we can now do the sky and the grass and all that. Okay. So all right, so let's get started with that. Now again, I don't have a reference photo. I'm just going to use the light blue for the sky. Just going to paint that in there. If you remember when we started, we said these are probably rolling hills in the background. So we'll do that in a second. I'm going to take this and make this the same color and then lighten it a little bit for the horizon. The horizon's usually a little bit lighter. And if the sun is over on this side, then, which is where I want it to be from, so we'll make it a little bit lighter over here and a little bit darker to the left side. You see how that's very subtle, gradual going over there. Okay. Now we're going to take the background, we're going to make it a little tiny bit hint of green. I'm going to kind of keep it very unsaturated. And we're going to make it darker than that. Make it background. So here we have our hills. Okay. And the sun's probably coming from behind that hill, so we're going to use that in a second. And let's see, go like this. Remember that river. That river is right there, right there. So we're going to like this. Just get that all filled in there. Okay. Alright, so now let's take some dark, a little bit darker, a little bit less saturated, and create some shadows, some texture to the ground over here. Get a little bit darker over here. Okay. And then we're going to get some of that yellow. We're going to put it on the hill. Just a little bit so you can see the sun hitting the land. Let's get back that green. Alright, now let's get the water. Let's make the water a little blue and we can work from there. Let's see if we like it or not. I don't want to be too cliche-ish. But the sun, this sky right here would be reflecting into this water. Now you see I can paint right over the dog and it won't matter because remember we created that mat to there we go, there's the river coming this way. Very little bit of it showing. Alright, I'm going to get this. Okay. Get that bank over there. Remember we had some stones in here, we'll fix that. And some dark areas. Okay. Let me just get some of this dark here. Get these hills to look more hilly. We'll put some trees in there in a second. Oops, don't want to do that. Let's undo that. Okay, so now you see we have the rough draft of the background. Now, do I like the composition? This is a good thing to ask yourself. And I answer myself this way. I don't think so. I don't think I like the composition. So what I want to do is like it. So I think what I'll do is I will move things around, but let's make a duplicate so I don't ruin anything. And I think what I need to move around is the dog. So let's just make one that we keep and one that we move and we play with. So yeah, I think I like the composition better. I think I like the composition better like that. If you really can't see all of her ear, all of her hand, I think I like that composition better. Okay, I think I like that better. So let's just kind of compare the two, that composition versus that composition. I think I like that one better. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so now we have a rough composition, and we're not done yet. You want to illustrate a children's book and you stop right here, you can. The publisher, the author, maybe they say, oh, I like that rough look. But let's keep going. Let's take this another step. But in order for me to do that, I have to take a break. So I'm going to take a break, and I'll be right back. I'm going to turn this off, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay. Well, I had a break, and I'm going to continue now. My break consisted of iced tea. I don't know if you can see my iced tea. Oh, sorry. Trying to show you my iced tea. There it is, cold and wet. And of course, I dripped on my screen. Now I gotta clean that up. Come on, where's my paper towel? There it is. Get it up. Not good to get it wet. I was just trying to be silly there. All right, so let's work on the background, and then we'll do the dog. So the background, so let's get rid of the dog for now. And we can remember where the dog is, so we don't have to worry about that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put another layer here, just as a way to know where the dog is. I'll go ahead and take a black line, and it's on a separate layer, so I don't mess it up. And I'm basically going to trace the dog. And this is only so I don't paint, so I don't worry about areas that are covered already by the dog and by the flowers, and I guess this whole area, I guess I don't have to worry about that at all. And there we go. So that whole area I don't need to worry about. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the dog. Whoops, sorry. And now, see, that shows me I only need to paint over here and here. What I want to do is I'll create another layer, and I'll put it over the background layer and underneath that black line. So let's just work on the sky a little bit and add a few things, maybe some clouds. So let's just start there. And we're going to continue to use the gouache brush. So put some clouds in the sky. Clouds are cool because you don't have to worry about making them exact. Get some clouds here close to the horizon. If that makes sense to you. And yeah, so during my little break right there, I probably took about a half-hour break. I was looking at my email, and I was goofing a little bit. There's a video game I downloaded that drove me nuts. I don't know what it's called, but it's, you know, you put these blocks into these spaces. All right, now let's get some of that yellow for the sunshine, and we're going to put some of that, make this smaller, just create some bright spots on the clouds, make it more white, I guess. Yeah, this way you have some definition to these clouds. You know, you don't have to have clouds, but I just thought I would do it. You know, a little more personality, make it a little bit more interesting. There we go. All right, now let's get some of this area here, and we'll take that color, make it a little bit darker. I want to make some distant hills that were not really defined, but just make the landscape a little bit deeper than it was before. Just some distant hills. Now, distant hills, the way to accomplish that is you just sort of make it a little bit light, a little bit darker than the sky, and it usually works out pretty nice. All right, now let's put some trees back there. So let's get some dark, unsaturated green, and we'll put some trees. Basically, just little triangles, little points. And they don't have to be all perfect. You just may put them in there. Just imagine yourself wanting to walk in this place, this fantasy place. This place inspired by William Shakespeare. Sort of. I mean, I definitely am using his words, right? And so there we go, a couple of trees, got like a line of trees there, and we'll just let them go back behind the horizon, and then we'll make maybe some darker, more foreground trees over here. These ones are a little bit taller. And we'll add some shadows to them in a little bit. There we go, just give it more of a woodsy look. Yeah, it's not too hard to do. And it's really the same thing with traditional paint if you're painting with acrylics or oils or casein. Now I am going to paint over the dogs right there because it'll be hidden anyway, but I wanted to get that in there. Yeah, that's good. Now let's get the bottom of those trees way darker. Let's get them a little bit shadow. Remember, the sunlight is coming from the right side from our perspective. So get a little bit of darkness down there. They're casting shadows on themselves, on each other, on the ground around them. So all this tree coverage area will be darker and spreading shadows throughout the terrain. And of course the terrain's not flat, so it's going to have a little bit of movement, makes it more interesting anyway. And don't forget the sun's coming from back here on the right side, so we will have to add some of that on there. Okay, just add some more A little bit more depth to some of these hills. Yeah, I think in the Shakespeare piece that we are basing this on, there was reference to the canopies of flowers. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to leave it just here. All right, now the bank of the river, the river's edge, we're going to darken it up a little bit. Just going to create some depth right there, some shadows. Yeah, that's good. And again, everything that's in here won't be seen because the dog is there. All right, now let's go ahead and get some of that yellow green, and put some light in there. So there's some dappled light coming through the trees, hitting some of these areas over here, hitting some of these areas over here. Yeah, so now we have a little bit more, it's more interesting back there now. And now let's do that river a little bit better. Let's get some blue in there. Some nice blues. I think I'll even extend the river to this side a little bit and make it a little bit wider. Yeah. Then we'll add those rocks to it in a little bit. And I want to make sure we have the clouds reflecting in the river. So let's get some dark areas first. I want to put some rocks and stuff over here and some reflections of the rocks. And we'll get the lighting on there in a little bit. Let's get some gray to represent the rocks. Get some light on there. All right, now let's add some white here. The water is flowing around these rocks, so that white looks like it's got lines. Yeah, this is basically illustration. You know, same tools as for fine art, same thoughts, same ideas, but with illustration you can cartoonize it a little bit. Obviously this is cartoonized. I mean, there's no question that the dog is a cartoon, but there we go. Now I think we're starting to get it. And we'll get some of these, a little bit of dark blue here, I think. Just reflecting the rocks. And the other things on the shoreline, the bank of the river. Yeah, a little bit more texture over here. Okay, now the background looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more dark. A couple of dark areas that this can be reflecting some of these things a little bit more. And I think the last thing I want to do for the background is I want to add some vertical lines, like little pieces of grass that are just growing up here, right on the edge. And it's okay to put them under the dog because they're coming up from behind anyway. So we'll do it like this. Just real thin lines. I'm still using gouache. All I did was I shrunk the size of it. And we'll go ahead and put some on the other side of the river too. Some grass growing up over there. And we'll get some light yellow green, like that right there. And put that into the mix as well. And some of them are catching the light from the sun, and others are more in the shadows. So it's kind of a mixture of the white and the dark, the light and the dark. I guess we could put one tree in there. Maybe we should put one foreground tree. I think I'll do that. Because we don't really have a foreground tree. I forgot to do that. Just kind of create the stems and the roots and the trunk and all that. So I'm doing the tree as if it's a leafless tree, and then we'll add the leaves. And then we'll have to add the light and the dark also. But it just adds, it makes it a little bit more interesting now, doesn't it, that there's a tree in the foreground. I just forgot to do it. And even if I left it out, it would have been okay, I think. But I want to make this as interesting as possible. What I like is to think about the end of this whole thing. When you have a book and you're sitting with a child and the child is looking at the pictures as you read the book. It's very cool, very cool. So that's beautiful, actually. Cool is not the right word. It's beautiful. All right, let's get some of this dark, almost blue-green here. Let's just put in some leaves. Whoops, that's a little bit too green, I think. A little bit less saturated. Put them over the leaves, over the branches. Don't want to cover them up totally. Yeah. There we go. Now it's starting to look like a tree, right? Yeah, it's still looking like a tree. Alright, now let's put some of that sunlight on there. Get that yellow going on there. Make it a little bit smaller. Each of these little clumps of the branch of the leaves gets its own little burst of sun. Let me make it a little bit more yellow, I think. There we go. And we can go ahead and add some dappled light here. going behind the tree. Kind of like that idea. And then we have to put some on the tree itself. Can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. And just sample that, make it darker for the for the shadows of the tree itself. All right, so there's the background. It's pretty nice, huh? I think so. All right, let's get the dog back in. Let's put the dog back in. There's the dog. Get rid of that black line. Don't need it anymore. And now we have a nice looking background for our dog. Now we just need to make the dog. So, for the dog, let's see. I don't have the picture of a dog I'm using, but I do have a picture of that flower somewhere. I have to find it. And because that's the whole thing, right? Is that flower. Let's see. Here it is. Screenshot of the flower. Okay. All right. Well, let's get this dog looking pretty cool. So what I want to do now is I don't need that background anymore. So let's get rid of that. And I don't need this anymore because I decided I like the bigger one better. And all this background that we added to see how the background used to look? And then when you add everything I just did, look how nice it looks. Just looks real full, real rich. That versus that. And we can maybe make that a little richer by doing that, by doubling it. And then merge it down so it's all part of the background. Oops, it didn't work. Try it again. Here you go. If I duplicate again. Yeah, let's do it like that. Okay, now we got a nice, rich, very rich background. Isn't that cool? Okay. Now let's get the dog. Now the dog is going to be on that layer. I'm going to take another layer, just so I don't mess it up too bad. And I'm going to paint the dog. Not sure how, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so let's make the dog really big so we can see it better. Let's make the dog's eye. This is very, very much a human looking face, to be honest with you. But that's okay. That's okay. So everything we did before, we just kind of roughed it in, and now we're going into the details here. And we can make some of these areas darker, I think, and less purple. So just keep working it. And I think that's the key, is to just keep working it until you're happy with it. If you're illustrating your own children's book, what I think you should do is have somebody you really have a good relationship with to tell you what they like and what they don't like. Because they're not going to you don't want somebody who's jealous. You don't want somebody who's a know-it-all. You don't want somebody blah, blah, blah. You want somebody who's going to be true and somebody who's going to tell you exactly what you need to hear. They're not going to butter you up. They're going to tell you as like it is. And they'll say, oh, that dog looks good, but, and then whatever follows that, then you have some information you can work with. You could do it online, I guess, with people online. There might be some groups or something that people will give you honest feedback on the work that you're doing. Um, I don't trust people who charge for that information, so I would stay away from them. If they're listening, I don't care. You guys shouldn't be doing that anyway. If you're artists and you've got so much talent, why don't you use it? And instead of selling your services to critique others, that's crazy. That's so... Well, I guess it's not crazy if you're making money, but it's not fair to the artists. Just make some art, and make some money with your art, like everybody else is doing, and leave it at that. Don't be charging for all that stuff. Anyway, charging for lessons is different. I'm not talking about lessons. And if you are taking lessons, then yes, your teacher that would be the perfect person to go to for advice. So those are just some thoughts I have on that subject. Okay, I'm trying to get this dog. I'm not sure how to work this mouth here. It's kind of looking funky to me. Let me get some of that yellow in there. Get some light on the bottom lip. Okay. Yeah, this dog's got a little bit of a wrinkly face. That's probably what's going on here. That's not what I planned, but it looks like it's working out that way. I kind of want to have a little bit of a coat, a little bit of a furry coat, I think. So I'm going to work with that in a second. There's a cool brush you can use to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Okay. Let's take that flower and make it a little bit better. Make it some white. We get some dark colors here, and put some yellow in there. Let's get this green from the leaf over here a little bit darker. There we go. And let's get some like a real dark orange here. A little bit darker than that. I'm going to use it for the little seed things that pop up. Okay. Now, I think what I want to do, let me erase a little bit of that one. Oh, that's underneath. That's that layer. I want to erase a little bit of that pearl, make it a little bit rounder. Looked a little bit sloppy to me. In fact, maybe I'll get rid of that pearl altogether. There we go. I'm carving a little bit of the dog's shoulder to make it more human. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now let's take that dog's skin coat color. See if we can get that looking good. Let me get this one here. Maybe over here. Okay, let's get that shadow from that ear. That ear is casting a shadow on the face. Let's get this area over here. Looks like it's got some problems. Let's fix those problems. And let's get some of that blue highlight. Let's get the nose. Let's make some of that blue highlight not so overwhelming. It's a little bit over. It's a little bit over much. Too much. A little bit overwhelming. Okay. And this, we'll get this back on. This, see, this is how you sample color. Just put your finger on it and hold it for a little bit. I still want to have that blue right there. Just I covered it up just for a second, and I'll go ahead and add it. Trying to define this nose a little bit better than it was. There we go. I still want to be able to see the light coming across the dog from the cool light, the cool side, where the water is reflecting. Shakespeare's dog. How about we call it that? Shakespeare's dog. Or how about this? If Shakespeare was a children's author and I was the illustrator. It's kind of an idea, a fun idea. All right, let's get some nose holes here so the dog can sniff something with. Go ahead and use that black and go ahead and extend it over there. And I'll get that blue. And I'll get that blue reflecting on those eyelashes. Okay. Okay, get some of these little areas of light. I think I want the nose a little bit rounded instead of straight like that. And I'll get some of that blue. Sample that very light color. Yeah. There we go. Make this a little bit thicker. Get some of that blue on those pearls. Okay, now I think I want to, let me fix that, that's a mistake. I think what I want to do now is I want to add some fur. I hinted that I was going to do that. I wasn't sure. I'll go ahead and add some eyebrows to this dog. Why not? Dogs have eyebrows, right? Okay. Okay. A little bit more darkness for that leaf over there. Okay, now let's go ahead and add some fur. So I'm adding a few last minute dark areas. If Shakespeare wrote a children's book, or if Midsummer Night's Dream was a children's book, how would you illustrate it? Okay, it's kind of funny looking, isn't it? All right, so now that's what we did right there. It's all on another layer. Let's compare. Oh yeah, it does make it more defined and does the job better. So now let's combine those two. Now let's go ahead and try some of that fur, that short hair, and see if that makes a difference. So let's grab that. This is a cool brush now. So far we've been using a traditional brush, but now we're going to use, so there's so many choices. I can't remember which one it is. Here it is, fine hair, short hair. That's what we want, short hair. Okay, so now we got short hair. Let's make it completely opaque. And I can't see that. I guess it's very small. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some dog hair to this dog. Now what color do you think the hair would be? Would it be the same color I already have? I think maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit less saturated. Let's just try it. It's another layer, so I won't be hurting anything. To give it a try. Yeah, that's looking all right. Oh, what I can do is add these little hairs here, and then I can come back and add some dark ones. Let's add these yellow. Let's make this one's the same color as the light coming back on it. So I got these little short hairs. Do you see them? I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely looking like fur, like a dog's coat. Definitely is. And I don't have to cover the whole dog, just the areas where the light and the dark are interplaying with each other. The chinny chin chin. Oh yeah, it looks very very dog-like now. It's looking very much like a dog. Okay, maybe I can be a little bit freer with it, like make it grow a little bit longer than that. Yeah. All right, let's get some of these. Just use the color that's there. Oh yeah, see, I'm learning as I do it. I don't even know what I'm doing here. All right, let's get some of these. Let's get some of that light blue. Does it work? Let's get some of those into the hair realm. Some hairs off of here. Make it even lighter than that because the sun is hitting it. I'll go ahead and put the yellow over there. I would imagine that the sun would be making its way across his head. Yeah, now we can get some hair in the ears. Dogs have hair in their ears. Oh, I kind of like that. It's kind of cool. Almost has a beard now. A lady beard. Okay, let's take some of this dark and bring this fur down into that fur. That's kind of cool. And gotta add some whiskers to the dog also. Let's get some hair over here on the arms. Don't worry, she's the dog, she likes hair. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine if dogs had vanity, then they would probably like hair. They'd probably pride themselves on their coats. Put some hair on this hand. That's paw. I should say paw, not hand. Here we go. Getting a little bit furry now. It's kind of cool, isn't it? Let's get some white into this ear here. A little bit of hair here. It definitely looks like a hairy arm there. Let's get the dark back now. Get some of these, make some of these little hairs come off the eyebrows. Huh? What do you think? Yeah, make it a little bit bigger. And we'll just bring some hair over here. All right, here we go. It's a little furry dog, I guess. Huh? I don't know. All right, now I want to differentiate between the foreground and the background, the dog and the background. So let's just compare now the fur without the fur. Look at that. Didn't that change it? Double that. Oh yeah, that did a good job. All right, now let's do this other trick. Let's put these two together, and then we're going to take another layer, and we're going to call this layer a multiply layer. So this is this thing right here, multiply. And I'm going to show you what that does. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what it will do. So we're going to test it. I think probably the overall color on this picture is blue. So I'm going to take this, make it blue. And like right there or so, maybe a little bit bluer. And then I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in the whole picture. See, it did, can you tell it darkened the whole picture? And what I want to do now is I want to take this layer and I want to clip it. So now all of the masking is done. All of the multiply layer is done on the dog and not on the background. So now I want to take an eraser and I want to start erasing some stuff. I think what I'm going to use is an airbrush. So I'll use that one and keep it kind of small and kind of less opacity. And let's just start erasing, make it a little bigger. Erasing the areas that we want lit. Okay, so that's the idea here, to erase the areas that we want to have the most light on. The flower has some translucent petals, so they will have light coming through them. The dog, as we've established this whole picture, has a lot of light coming onto it from both sides. So I want to make sure I get those things lit. And as I erase it, you can see it becomes more lit. The pearls become more lit. the ears become more lit. Let's just get all the areas that have lighting on them to be lit. Let's get that flower there. Let's get the middle of the flower. There. Now let's just see if we like that, because I'm not saying I will like it. I don't know until I try it, try it with and without, if I like it with or without. I want to make that flower a lot brighter. Okay. Let's get that nose a little bit brighter too. Okay, let's compare with it on and off. It does the job a little bit. Alright, so we'll keep it on. I think I want to erase a little bit of this blue here. Yeah, see, it's just darkening a little bit of it. I think I like this light over here too. Let's see. Okay. And I think maybe I overdid the ear with the fur. So let's go back to that and put some, whoops. I'm going to have to do it over here. A little bit of this darker, very darker violet. Oh, and I didn't add the whiskers yet, so I gotta do that still too. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now let's get the whiskers on there. So for the whiskers, let's just use, oh, I guess just go back to the gouache. The paint gouache there, right there. And let's just take a plain white, make it a separate layer just in case we mess up. Put it over the multiply layer. I might not even use that multiply layer. I might get rid of it. It's got long whiskers. Let's see if we can do something with the eyelashes too. Make them a little bit more defined. Get some of that light blue over here. Maybe some flyaway hairs here and there. It's not a bad idea. How about some flyaway hairs? Oh yeah, that helps. A few flyaway hairs. Now let's see, maybe I don't like that multiply layer on there. You know, I don't. I'm going to get rid of it. And now I'm questioning the color of the dog. I'm thinking it contrasts with the background too much. So I have an idea. So let me put these whiskers onto the dog. Let me duplicate it in case I mess it up. Close one of them out. And now let's mess with the color of the dog a little bit. Let's use this tool called Curves. Let's just see if we can maybe get some of that red out. Oh, I kind of like them like that. Oh yeah, I kind of like them. Like we're not so purpley. The original color that I thought I was gonna like. Okay, I think I like them like that. So let's see what that looks like compared to the other way. So there's that one and that one. Oh yeah, I definitely like this one. It seems to work better with the whole composition. It seems to be a better color. All right, now let's try and take the background and mess with it a little bit. I'm going to duplicate that and maybe make the background a little darker. Let me use Curves again. Or maybe a little brighter. Brighter. No, I don't want it to be blue. Yeah, I want it to be brighter like that. That's sunny. And now let's go back to the dog and see if we can mess with him a little bit more. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a much better look. See that compared to that? Oh yeah, the flower pops. So there we go. So I think I'm going to call it done. I would probably, if I was going to work on it longer, I would work on the flower. Should I try that now? Let me see. Let me try and make the flower better. Let's focus on the flower a little bit, because that's the part I'm not happy with. Okay, but I am happy with the composition. I am happy with the way the lighting and the coloring looks. I don't want that one anymore, so let me get rid of that one. And I don't want that background anymore. I want that background. Okay, so I'll combine those two together. And now let's work on the flower. So a separate layer for the flower. Put it over the flower, over that layer. And let's just work on the flower. So I do have a reference photo for the flower. It's up on my computer screen. So I'm going to try to really do a good job on this flower. Just work on it a lot. Let's get some of these light areas on this. No, got a little whiter than that. It's not. Why is it not working? I guess it's working, okay. Let me just get some pure white, I guess. Yeah, let's get some of that white that comes up from the middle of the flower. And bring it up here to the edges. Yeah, I think those, when I was trying to put those little pistils in there, whatever you call them, I just did it in such a hurry that I didn't do a good job at all. So let's just work on this flower. Let's give some love to the flower. Let's make it better. Let's get some of that very, very yellow. Right there, the yellow. Okay, keep going for the white, I guess. Get some of that white. And then let's get some of these darker pinks. That'll be the shadows on these petals. Some of this dark orange now is the color of the little seeds. Yeah, these are all the things that the bees like to land on, right? To get the pollen out of it. And some of these little dots have light hitting them, so it's tiny little areas that have light. Might as well just put pure white. Just give them a little bit of a glow. Alright, let's get this pink. I think the flower looks better now. Before it looked a little bit too rushed. I think it looks better. Yeah, now our dog is sniffing a flower. Okay, let's go back to the dog. So there's the flower now, before. Oh my gosh, it's night and day. All right, let's put that together. And the only thing let's get rid of the background. I think what I want to do is erase some of that extra stuff on the outside of the dog's nose. So let me just get the eraser, make it small. I think that's just a little bit too much of that stuff right there. I just want it to be a little hint of that light coming in off the reflection of the river. So I'll do that. Get a little bit of this. And a little bit of this here too. There we go. I'm just erasing it. Let me smear it back in a little bit. All right, now let's put that background back on. Okay, now let's see what it looks like now. That's probably better. Well, there's something still there. Oh, I see what it is. It's the background. So let me just get the background and get some of that river to go behind his nose. Yeah, I didn't do a very good job with that. I mean, it's still a very impressionistic painting if you look at it. It's an impressionistic cartoon painting, but I kind of like the way it looks. Let me get the dog a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, well there's the dog sniffing the flower, and I think I'm okay with it. You know what we can do? We can make that that smudge brush into the short hair brush. Let's try that just a little bit, just to smudge them with the hair effect. Oh yeah, okay, that's good. I see what it's doing. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, get the little hairs off of it. There, that area too. Put hair on the pearl. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, get those hairs out there. Yeah, doing good, okay. So we've taken an idea and we've worked with it until we are at this point. I don't know how long the video is. It's probably, I bet it's a couple hours already. But I'm going to stop. If you've watched this whole thing, good for you. I didn't want to make this a short one. I wanted to do every step of the way to kind of show how I would do this. I have illustrated a number of children's books, and I feel like every time I do a children's book, I try to do it a little differently. It's probably because I look at the work I did prior to it, and I think, well, I could do something different. I should have done something different or whatever. And so then I come up with these ideas. And in this case, there's no real book. It's just a passage from William Shakespeare. But, you know what? I think that flower needs a little shade on it. So I'm going to do another. I'm going to try the multiply layer again. But this time, I'm going to use the gouache. I'm just going to add some shadows, I think. Yeah, because the dog is holding it, there should be some shadows on it. And then we can always yeah, the leaves too, right? Yeah, they should have some shade on them. Yeah, it shouldn't have been all one color like that. Put a little shade on the pearls also. Okay, let's see what that looks like with and without it. That's with it. Oh yeah, definitely like it like that. That makes more sense to me. All right, kids. Well, I think we're done. Thank you for watching. I guess that's it. All right, see you later. Bye.